Welcome to the motovlog. Here we go, a little bit of exploration while we talk about, you guessed it, UFC 166 Aftermath. My good God, what a fight card that was on Saturday night. Honest to God, I couldn't have scripted it better. And the guys that stole the show, for the love of Mike, I tell you what, Gil Melendez and Diego Sanchez put on a fight for the ages. They both just wanted to start swinging, and swing away they did. Now, we'll get back to that in a minute. First, we're going to talk about Roy Nelson and Daniel Cormier. If anybody saw that fight going any other way, I feel sorry for you, because that was about as cut and dried as it's going to get. Daniel Cormier was doing the Velasquez Jr. using clinch fighting to pretty much take Roy's weapons away. And we all know, all Roy wants to do is create some space, goad you with a couple of little left jabs, and then unload the big old haymaker. And it didn't work, just as we all predicted, right? Because I know I did, and I know you must have too. And then was the Diego Sanchez-Gil Melendez fight, right before Cain Velasquez and Junior Dos Santos squared off for the heavyweight title for the third time. Now let's talk Gil Melendez and Diego Sanchez. I predicted Diego Sanchez would quit on the boxing and the kickboxing when he realized that Gil was going to be the more precise striker and end up picking him apart on the feet. And I was close, but I was still wrong, because Sanchez continued to bite down on the mouthpiece and just swing away. And my Lord, I couldn't believe it. I found myself cheering for the other guy. I predicted Gil Melendez to win that fight. And when Sanchez landed that huge cross uppercut combo that sent Melendez into a flash knockout and he hit the canvas, I thought it was all over. I was freaking out. I was standing going, oh my God! Yelling at the TV like there was no tomorrow, because Sanchez was about to finish him off. And Melendez got his feet back under him somehow and kept fighting through it. Ooh, that's where we'll go, right up there. Look at that. And that was just stunning. It was just an unbelievable display of heart on both of those guys' parts, because it takes two to tango. And that is a case that it's just so true. Because, we could have seen it turn into a gross, boring wrestling match where they're just trying to hold each other down and scrambling and whatnot. For all intents and purposes, that could have been fairly exciting. But those guys obviously went in there knowing that they were going after the fight of the night. And my God, did they do it. And later on, I read that Melendez actually told the press that it was going to be that type of fight. And when they used to train together, wherever that was, probably at the Diaz Brothers gym, wherever that is in Northern California, Stockton area, he said that their training sparring matches could have been so exciting, or exciting enough they could have charged admission for people to watch. And man, did that hold up. Like, seriously, I've been holding off watching anything again to make sure that I get all my initial reactions when I started talking about this on the vlog today. And obviously I wanted you to hear my first reactions. But I've been having some hard time trying not to watch that fight again. But I'll be glad once I get this done. I'm going straight home to watch that fight. I'm going to pop some popcorn and just watch them blast each other for 15 minutes straight. There was something to behold. And they deserve every little bit of that post-fight bonus they got for fight of the night, because that was just amazing. And it really kind of stepped the game up for the guys fighting in the co-main event and the main event. We watched Daniel Cormier against Roy Nelson right after that, and then comparatively that was a snooze fest. But all on its own, if it hadn't been predecessed by such an awesome fight, it would have been a pretty good one. But, you know, they got blown out of the water. Those guys really set the tempo for what was yet to come, and the rest just didn't hold up. Now, that's not to say our main event was still spectacular. And it was a spectacular domination once again. And, you know, when I watch two guys at such a high level compete for such a huge prize, I have butterflies. Like, I can feel the hair stand up on the back of my neck, and, you know, I almost confuse it for concern. Like, it's almost like I'm concerned about what happens to the fighters, that I'm just on the edge of my seat, and I honestly, it's almost hard to cope with. Like, the excitement's so high, and you know, it just, the intensity of the moment just goes right through you. And I think obviously that's because I'm such a big fan. But that fight was something else. Like, I did have Kane to win. I did say it was going to be basically a repeat of the second fight, and that's pretty much the way it went. And Junior did try something different. He was looking for a lot of elbows in close to deal with Kane's clinch game, but it just wasn't enough. Especially when Kane is so used to having to deal with that, and even said in the post-fight press conference, he totally expected Dos Santos to make that kind of adjustment and start using elbows or something like that to deal with the clinch game. But when you can get that close to a guy and just relax somewhat, make sure he doesn't crack you on the jaw, and you're basically okay, because your head's just going to cock and roll with the punch, or the elbow rather. So he was smartly defending that, knowing it was coming, and that's really all Dos Santos had for him was some elbows. And even once again, they talk about Junior Dos Santos being the best boxer in the heavyweight division, and it shows. But as soon as you put that boxing in an MMA fight against a guy like Cain Velasquez, it just reinforces how bad Kane's got Junior's number. Like, there was nothing he could do. It was useless. And you know, like I predicted, and you'll read a lot about 8 and 10 fights that those two have, and Kane's going to come out the victor, and it's going to look the same. And I thought it was great in the post-fight press conference. He iterates again, this is the last time he and I are fighting. But he did say, obviously, you know, 4 or 5 years go by or whatever, maybe, you know, a few fights each, and it might be something that they have to do for old time's sake, shall we say? Because, you know, by then, it might make sense, but at least for the time being, there's plenty else going on. So, Velasquez wins in a clear-cut, or he was on his way to a clear-cut decision, and then Junior's mistake, trying to hold on to that Darce choke or whatever he was going for, guillotine. Again, I gotta watch it again to remember exactly what the deal was there, but smashed his forehead when Kane did that really aggressive roll to get out of that, which was brilliant. Because with Junior's lack of strength, after being beat on for 4 and 3/4 rounds basically, he had nothing left. And, you know, Herb Dean mercifully stopped the fight, which was the right thing to do in that case. There was no reason for Junior to continue to take that kind of punishment. Well, and for that matter, it could be argued that Herb could have stopped in the third. He actually touched Velasquez like he was going to pull him off and let the fight go, giving Junior his best chance to keep fighting. But that's all she wrote. Oh, would you look at that view? Isn't that nice? Beauty. Right down the power lines. Oh, there is a trail there. I bet that's a haggard mess down the bottom, though. You know what? Let's go find out. So, the only thing left to do is talk about who gets who next. And I think Sagano or Junior Dos Santos is going to take some time off after this one before they get him in there with anybody else. Because there really isn't a matchup that makes any sense for him right now, because he's he's basically, if they don't put him on the shelf for at least a couple months, well, probably more than a couple months, I'd say he's probably done for somewhere between 6 and 10 months. You won't see him fight again, because they'll create a gatekeeper scenario where nobody can beat him to get to Kane. And really what they need to do is have a bunch of these other guys square off and do their thing. But before we talk about that, let's go back to Sanchez and Melendez. Melendez is getting back in line for a title tilt. Hopefully, my favorite fighter, if I had to pick a guy that I root for harder than anybody else, is TJ Grant. After Pettis and Josh Thompson do their thing, Grant, hopefully he'll get healthy and get to fight the next title fight. But right behind him at this point is Gil Melendez, and to hang on and basically outpoint Diego Sanchez in that brutal slugfest, it was something impressive. So he's no doubt going to get somebody high up the ladder. And if I'm not mistaken, it could look like a rematch between him and Benson Henderson, because I don't know if Henderson's got an opponent named as of yet. Diego Sanchez is probably going to get stuck fighting somebody he's already fought. Maybe it could be Gray Maynard, who TJ Grant just beat up, or Nate Diaz could be in the mix again. But that we'll have to wait and see. So, oh, good Lord, this is rough. Who does this and vlogs at the same time? Oh, me, HamShanks, that's who. Like an idiot. Like an idiot. I don't know if I want to keep going down there. So, after those two get sorted out, you know, Sanchez and Melendez kind of have a bit of an assortment of opponents that they could look at fighting next. What the heck do you do with Roy Big Country Nelson? He's basically out of a job. As far as I can see, there's nobody left to put him in the cage against. I don't know what more to say about that. You know, Daniel Cormier, obviously he's going to drop down to 205, as he announced. It was win, lose, or draw. He was going to 205, and maybe we'll see Roy follow him down. You know, he hasn't got a whole lot of that gut left to lose, and then after that it's a weight cut, and he might be able to pull it off. So we'll see. That as far as giving Cormier an opponent, the only person I can see putting him up against that's really going to make a lot of sense is either Alexander Gustafsson, which I know they won't do because they're ruining one of the two opportunities to have Cormier win and then get a shot against John Jones if he beats Bader or Glover Teixeira, and they can't put him up against and then the other way, Gustafsson. If Gustafsson loses, then they can't do that rematch. So in the big scheme of things, I think you're going to see Jones fight Teixeira and then rematch Gustafsson. And in the meantime, Cormier's probably going to have to deal with somebody like Phil Davis, Mr. Wonderful. And if he gets past him, then he'll get the next shot at Jones or whoever's the current champ. But that's a ways away yet. But Roy Nelson's screwed. He's lost his way into basically purgatory. Like, what's left? He's not even a gatekeeper. He didn't get that high up the food chain. In any case, then there's Velasquez. Velasquez, I know they're definitely going to put Fabricio Verdum in the cage across from him next. And again, Dos Santos is on the shelf indefinitely while they sort out some other contenders and get some storylines built up in the heavyweight division. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. And soon enough, we're going to change the pace of this vlog setup a little bit here. So stay tuned for that. See you soon.